¿Quién está ahí?
One of the most important aspects of developing a character for me is the wardrobe. I'd work with Mary Zofries, figuring out, the right hat for the guy, the right patch, for the eye. Boots are always important.
Rooster, I wanted him to have this great overcoat. It's called a great coat, or an Ulster coat. I saw it in a piece of research. It has a big collar, and he's got a great build for this, and I knew he could carry it. Jeff Bridges, when he's in a fitting, he transforms right in front of you. He is why I do what I do, because you can see it happening, like he started doing something with his voice in the middle of the fitting, and I could sense it. At first I was like, what's going on? And then I realized he's getting into character, and his stance changed, and we're like, done, that's Rooster. I was really pleased with how that turned out, because this coat has a big slit up the back, so when he gets on his horse, it kind of, has this movement. He's a bit of a drunk, and he's a bit of a mess, but he's still heroic and iconic. LaBeef, who's Matt Damon, is in buckskin. Nobody else in town wears buckskin. He's the only one for miles in buckskin, and that was on purpose. It's described in the script as someone with maybe a little too much panache.
There was something about buckskin, which I thought was a really good idea. It's tough to be taken seriously in a buckskin jacket. So I think it's the kind of thing it's like a handicap. It's like, I'm gonna give you that and I want you to get past that.
He's got fringe on his buckskin, and he probably had his boots custom made. And he's taken the time to give his hat a certain blocking. It's got a curve on the side, and it kind of goes over his eye. And again, it's maybe a little bit too much panache. So much so that Maddie notices him and doesn't really like him because of it.
Acabo de llegar del condado de Yale.
No tenemos payasos de rodeo en el condado de Yale.
Con una gracia, no me vas a ganar.
Maddie's costume the idea is that she's come to town, she thinks she's going to take care of her business in about a day. She figures she'd go home in the same dress. She has one dress, her one going to town dress. She doesn't wear hoops, she has petticoats underneath. But when she decides to go on the trail, what she ends up doing is she takes her dad's pants, she takes her dad's overcoat, and her dad's hat, and she puts those on, and she takes a belt off of her dad's saddle, and that's what she hoists it all together with.
It just felt like the minute I put it on, I was set in a different time era. Like, it's amazing the little things, putting on the clothes, putting on the shoes, what a difference it makes. And I think that, really affected my performance.
¡Contésteme, Rooster! ¡Mataré a esta niña! ¡Sabe que lo haré!
Barry Pepper was really fun to dress. It's scripted, and it's also in the book that Lucky Ned wears woolly chaps. They're chaps made out of Angora. The front of them is made out of Angora, the back is leather. And they wore them because it was for rain, mostly. Like, if the chaps got wet, it would repel the water, just like on an animal. So we had to have them made for him.
Mary, of course, was building the sheepskin chaps, and they were huge. They were big and white and woolly. And I was a little bit nervous that I was going to be wearing these monstrous big woolly white chaps. But she said, no, don't worry. These are going to get all dressed down, and very much in the Coen brothers sort of style of washing things out to be as realistic as possible.
¿Qué pasó con Nodus Wharton? Ahí está.
All of the folks that inhabited the courtroom, Mary Zofries designed these great costumes for them, and they didn't have to do too much acting to feel like you were back in those times.
¿Me puede señalar al sheriff?
Aquel de los bigotes.
There's an even bigger scene where Maddie has come to Fort Smith, and she's trying to get to the bottom of who's responsible for finding her father's killer, and there's a big hanging going on. This is the biggest crowd scene for the movie. There's about 300 people dressed, head to toe, corsets and all.
The extras all look fantastic, and when you get there on the set and you start to see all the people roaming around in their costumes, that's when you start to feel like it all sort of comes to life.
It's like you're painting a painting with each person, and when you put all of those people together and it looks how you want it to look, I get goosebumps every time.